Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of hashtag Event Icons. I'm your host, Sarah Crystal. And if you guys want to see all of our episodes and stay connected to the Event Icons family, make sure that you are subscribed at www.event-icons.com. If you are and you're just wanting some more resources, more event planning tips, and just being a part of that awesome community, you can also feel free to subscribe to the newsletter, which is something that I personally write every Monday. So make sure you do that too at helloendless.com/subscribe. We'd love to have you as a part of that community. But today, let's just jump into the episode. I'm really excited. We have someone who's been in the fitness and wellness space for years and someone who has coined the term of the 2-minute moves. I would like to welcome to the stage Lizzy Williamson.
Hey, it's time for another episode of hashtag Event Icons, presented by Endless Events, the show where you get to ask the icons of the events industry anything. Just follow us on social media to ask questions. Our iconic guests will answer them live during the entire show. Before we get started, the more people we have watching, the better the conversation. So please help share hashtag Event Icons on Twitter, Facebook, and LinkedIn. Just tell your friends to watch live on any of our social media channels. Now, without any further delay, this is hashtag Event Icons.
Hi, Lizzy.
Woo! Thank you, Sarah. Hello, everybody.
So excited. Today's topic is going to just be all about the importance of movement, the importance of getting up and, making sure that your mind and your body are both awake when you're sitting for hours and hours on these Zoom calls and meetings and all these different things that we have going on. And especially in these virtual conferences that we now are experiencing all the time. So first, Lizzy, before we dive into our awesome topic, I want to ask how you made your way from fitness into events. It seems like quite an interesting jump. So I'm really excited to see how you got into this space.
Yeah, well, I was a professional dancer. That was my first career. And then I moved into personal training. And
Amazing.
Then I would be at conferences and events, and I'd be, sitting there, and there's just these certain times of the day, and I'd look around and I think, people are starting to twitch and just get uncomfortable in their bodies. I'd start to see people sort of stifling some yawns, sort of looking around a bit. It's just those times where the energy naturally starts to drop, even if the speaker is amazing. And I would look around and go, I need to get up on that stage and get everyone up just for a really quick stretch and move, and it will change the whole vibe in this room. It will change the whole energy. It will give everyone a moment just to get their bodies feeling happy, and then they'd sit back down and be able to give their full focus and attention to the speaker, because that's what movement does to you. And so that's what I started doing. So I started contacting events that were on and suggesting I do this. And at the beginning, they were like, what? What a ridiculous idea. No one's going to want to do that. But I was just, they trusted me. And so then I started to show that actually people love that opportunity to a marketing world. And I was in front of, 4,000 or 5,000 people, and we were dancing and moving. And then, COVID hit, and then it all became about the virtual world. And in fact, it was almost even more powerful to be able to do this for virtual events. So that's what led me here.
Oh my gosh, that is the perfect definition of see a need and meet it and come up with a solution. And you just identified the problem right away just by experiencing it. I think that's awesome. And I definitely get that all the time. I feel like, my coworker and I, Anna, we're both very passionate about posture and the way you sit and movement during meetings. And it really, it's become kind of this taxing thing now, because it's just back-to-back meetings sometimes, even if you're not attending a conference, even when you're just working within your own company. It seems like you could be sitting for hours without actually, getting up and moving around. So I love that you really focus on this wellness in your body. So what are some of the things with virtual events that you've been implementing, and what are some ways that you've kind of been, shaking up that normal, getting people up and about rather than, just kind of zoning out during their conferences?
Yeah, I think you're so right with the back-to-back meetings. It's Same thing when you're on a virtual conference or event. Often I think whether you're an event organizer or whether you're an attendee, it can be easy to think, I just don't have time here to get up and exercise or, move my body. I actually don't even feel like it because my energy is a bit low because I've sort of been getting screen fatigue anyway. And the other thing is often don't even know what to do. People often say, you should need to, get up in your workday or get up during a long meeting or event and move your body. It's like, well, how are you supposed to move your body? So I think it's this idea of turning, wellness, exercise, fitness, looking at it as a thing that or an hour. And that's something I discovered actually when I had postpartum depression and exercise just became way too hard. This is actually where all this began. And I just started doing little moments of exercise and movement. That's all I could kind of get myself to do. I was in such a bad headspace. And that's when I realized, oh my goodness, if I don't have half an hour, I don't have an hour, I can still do this, take this little moment to move. And it actually does surprisingly make a big difference. So I look at it when I come on and integrate wellness into an event. I look at those things. There's the body and there's the brain, and then there's really the spirit, which is your energy and the way you're feeling, your mood. So we need to take care of people's bodies. We want to make sure their brains are switched on, because when you're on an event, you could be on a great event. You want to really get the information and you want to absorb it that you're hearing. We're getting some incredible speakers on events these days. And so it's like, how can we keep our attendees' brains switched on so they're really getting that? And so, because what we're wanting to do is make an impact, right? We don't want to just put on a great show and then have people walk away and not then take anything from that and integrate that into their daily life. So we want to keep our brains switched on. And then, of course, we want ourselves and our attendees and everyone to feel happy and feel energetic, so that they're thinking, oh my gosh, I'm having such a great time on this event. And I feel like this event has really, really prioritized and taken care of both my physical and my mental well-being. And what an amazing investment in my time, the fact that I have been on this event, I've gotten great information, but I've also been given opportunities to move my body. So it's looking at those little moments in an event. Sometimes there's during a little break, often there's great when events are scheduling in those 5-minute breaks in between speakers, such a great thing to do. That's a great little moment to give people the option of, here's a stretch that you can do, here's a nice little move you can do, some chair yoga, a bit of a fun dance to learn in the afternoon to boost the energy. So looking at the day, when does the energy naturally drop? When's our brain starting to switch off? When our body's probably going to get a bit achy? And in those moments, just slot in just a little moment of wellness.
I love that. I think I've actually recently, I love that you said that too, just about your own personal journey with, struggling with that postpartum depression and thinking about, okay, how can I implement little movements? It's like kind of something I've realized too in my personal life pretty recently is just, when I go long periods without doing some sort of workout or, doing something active, sometimes that can happen pretty easily when you're working at home and you just kind of, slip into the normal ebbs and flows of work and life, and you kind of forget to take that time for yourself, even though sometimes it does seem so like, duh, it really is one of those things that it can kind of slip by. And even for event planners, I feel like we're getting in this really great place, like you said, of scheduling in white space and scheduling in those breaks. But it's still sometimes, I think, is one of those things that is really easy to slip by when you're thinking of so many other things when you're planning your event that you don't necessarily think about something as getting people up and moving. What I really love is the science behind it. You were kind of sharing some things with me about those like ebbs and flows of when you're really feeling, a dip in motivation. So if you could share a little bit of that and what your brain does when you're kind of feeling those moments of being tired. I think that's something that event planners would love to learn more about.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, our body is amazing and it is designed to move so it can function at its best. Our brain is designed to function at its best when we are moving. That's how it has been since we began. Because what happens is this brain of ours, it's actually really built to detect and respond to change. It's not built to just be there for hours and hours focusing on the one thing. So if you give it this moment to look away from the screen, to move, to get some oxygen flowing, when you sit back down, studies have shown you're able to focus better and for longer periods of time. And what is happening there with our brain, we've got this chemical BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor. And when we are moving, these little cell passes, they sort of talk to each other better. We get more cells in our brain. So it's able to work in a much more effective way. And then there is our heart. And our heart is the thing that pumps oxygen, which is energy, to our body. So when we are moving our body, our heart is able to pump that oxygen more efficiently to our cells and our muscles. And that's why we get more energy. Often we tend to, when we want more energy, because our energy has dropped as it naturally does, we're like, okay, I've got to go for that third cup of coffee or that sugary snack, or our brain's going, sugar, give me something to keep me going. So up we go. But then that up, then of course comes a down, and then we think, right, what do I need again? Another cup of coffee. And so then we go on this roller coaster ride. And what we want instead is a little bit more like that. And that's what movement is. That's what the oxygen does. The oxygen flowing to our brain helps us be more creative as well. Studies show that if you have a walk, and you can do that walk on the spot. I do a lot of walking on the spot for attendees when I'm on events, because when you sit back down, you have boost your creative output by 60%, and those creative juices continue to flow. Hence why engagement gets boosted after you have done some kind of movement. And we're also able to think in a more flexible kind of way, just think better. And often I think with movement and exercise, we can forget about the brain. We think more about our body and how it's going to change our body and get us our muscles and a six pack. But the whole energy, brain, and then the mental health thing, BDNF also puts us in a better mood. And then of course, lastly, there is the serotonin that gets boosted from moving. And serotonin is our feel-good hormone, and that naturally helps to counteract cortisol, which is our stress hormone. And that's one of the reasons, along with endorphins, that we just feel so much better when we've actually gotten up and moved. The tricky thing is often you don't feel like it because we're naturally kind of there to conserve. We think we need to conserve our energy so that we can start, running away from the saber-toothed tiger. But we actually don't often need to conserve our energy anymore. So you just don't feel like it. So it's finding those little ways that make it a whole lot easier to actually do it.
Wow, I love the science behind it. I think that's the exciting part, is the why. I feel like some people kind of know that, movement is probably good, better than being, living that sedentary lifestyle. But just knowing that why and the threefold of what it does, that it is good for your body, but also your brain and also your mood and all these other great benefits from it. So I love that you touched on these things. And then would you recommend, I obviously that you're standing, so would you recommend like watching these conferences standing up? Like, does that kind of change if you don't get that movement in, like in between, some breaks, taking a meeting standing? Is that something that you recommend?
Well, absolutely. The thing is, when you're standing, is you can see that I'm kind of adjusting often my position from side to side. If I start to feel a bit achy in my knees or anything, then I might sort of, do a little kick up of my legs. So I find when I'm standing, I naturally move my body a little bit more. But the thing is, it's not in a way about the sitting. It's not about the standing. It's the lack of movement. So if I was to stand up all day thinking I'm doing the right thing because I'm standing, but I'm still not moving. And I find myself still, when I'm standing, not moving. And that's actually not so great for your body as well. So whether you're sitting, whether you're standing, the key is to take those little moments to break up that same position with movement, to keep it all, keep your body all happy and your brain switched on.
Good to know. And then with the 2-minute movements, I want to definitely get into some, but how many of those little breaks would you recommend? So say it's like an hour-long presentation, would you try to fit in 1 or 2, or if it's like an all-day conference, how often would you suggest to get people up and moving in between sessions, or just kind of throughout, just depending on when that energy kind of starts to dip?
Yeah, so if it's an hour-long presentation, so that could be a great thing to do right at the beginning or in the middle, even at that 40-minute mark, just to sort of pep everyone up and get everyone really there for the last 20 minutes. So that's for that. When it's a day-long thing, it's that mid-morning, post-lunch, and then kind of that mid-afternoon, that 3 p.m. That's when our energy naturally starts to go. I'll do a lot of events where people will start the morning off with some movement, maybe some nice breathing techniques, that type of thing, to get everyone focused and in the mood for it. But really, those are the times that our energy naturally starts to dip. But it's kind of about finding where works for you as well. If you are there as an attendee watching an event or having big long meetings all day as an event planner, we can set alerts for every hour and do that kind of thing. But often we're in the middle of a big something we're doing, and so we just hear that alert and go, oh yeah, I'll do that later. We're all kind of guilty of that, and we start to ignore the alert. So what I say to event managers as individuals, how they can incorporate this into their workday, is even just start with find one moment in your day that you can attach a bit of a 2-minute bit of movement to a habit that you've already got. Maybe it's when you walk into and start your work day. Before you start, that's when you move your body. Maybe it's at the end of the work day, you shut your computer and you do something, or maybe it's just after you get back for lunch. But definitely for events, mid-morning, lunch, mid-afternoon, and that just keeps everyone going for the day.
Okay, easy enough. So when I have my coffee in the morning, I'll just do like a nice little movement to get my body waking up rather than going for that second cup in the afternoon.
And just keep it really simple. Think head down to your toes. How can I move my head, my shoulders, my back, my hips, my knees, ankles, wrists? Right, let's go.
Yeah, I want to see some examples. So what are your favorite go-to things, or what is something that you think would work really good in like an event setting? And also just, I think it's a good engagement practice too. You could tell someone like, okay, do a nice little stretch. Some people are going to sit in their chairs. Some people might join you. So what are some things that you can get people excited and just do something that's maybe out of the ordinary?
Okay, well, the first thing is you just need, when you hear a song and you think, I have to move to this song. There are just certain songs like that. So song choice is number one. So when I am booked to do an event, I will look at the theme of the event. Might have a name. Can I incorporate a song that kind of really enhances the theme? I look at who the attendees are, what it is. If it's a sales kind of event, do they need to be pumped up? Is it a corporate, and are they all just really exhausted and need a real boost of morale? Whatever it is, sort of looking at whatever song that's kind of going to fit in perfectly with that. So you start to hear that song. A song comes on when you've been watching hours of presentations, and all of a sudden you think, oh, I love this song. So then it's a case of encouraging those who can to get up off their chairs and just to start with people really simply, so they don't think, oh my goodness, what is this crazy Australian girl going to get us to do here? And just a simple thing of taking your head to one side. Sarah, you can do this at the same time with me if you want. Head to one side and the other. Now that gives your eyes an automatic break from the screen, which is great for screen fatigue. It's also moving your neck. Maybe the first time you have moved your neck out of this or this on your phone position for a long time. And then a nice breathe in with your shoulders as they come up, and then breathe out, drop them down. Breathe in all that tension, everything you've been holding on to, and drop it down. And one more of those. Breathe in and breathe out, and then just a couple of roll backs of your shoulders there. The way you're sitting at an event makes a difference too. If you're sitting here like this, you're not feeling so good, where you take these shoulders back, you're much more in a better position to get out the best information. Hands behind your head now.
Okay.
All right, you're going to take a little twist to the back and then twist to the back. So you're working your elbows back. That helps with your posture. You're also keeping your spine nice and flexible. Now, you've got to imagine this with like a really great song. And So you're twisting there. Another beautiful move is a side stretch. So reach one arm up and then the other arm up there. This is a beautiful thing to do for your lower back. And as you're reaching up, I might say, imagine what it is that you are reaching for today. What is it that you're wanting to achieve? What is it that you're wanting to get out of this event? Now you're going to take and push your hand to one side like you're giving someone a high five. Oh, look, we're giving each other a high five there. That's so cool.
Yes.
And then the other way. Yeah. And twist one way and twist the other way as you're imagining two people on this event with you that you're giving a virtual high five to. And then you might like to have a bit of, if we've got Eye of the Tiger, that song on, a little punch out to the front. That's going to really get some nice energy happening there. Good old punch. And then a walk on the spot. And as you're walking along and get everyone up, and if you're still on your chair, you can just bring one knee up and then the other knee up there. And then we just start to get our groove on. We might start to do a little bit of a dance, a bit of Saturday Night Fever kind of moves, or some old school kind of turning the lawnmower on moves, just to kind of try and make this fun, really accessible and achievable.
I love it. I think it's something too that no matter what, I mean, at the very least, some music and some movement just brings some smile to your face. It's something that's just kind of out of the ordinary, something kind of fun. And even if you feel silly doing it, it's 2 minutes. Then you move on and you continue with the rest of the event. So I think these are awesome. And yeah, I definitely feel even a little bit more alert and alive just from doing it with you. So I love this. I think it's such a great thing and really easy for event planners to implement. But I can hear some of the event planners maybe now, or someone's like, okay, I don't really, I have so many other things to think about, and this is maybe one of the last things on my priority list. So what's one piece of advice that you would give to event planners to just encourage them, or just one step that would make it easier for them to, really make sure that this is top of mind rather than the last thing on the to-do list?
Yeah, well, I guess now it's the whole wellness and well-being of our attendees. Sometimes it was kind of a bit more at the bottom of our list, but kind of now it feels like it sort of needs to be up there and the top of our list. Wellness, well-being has become such a trend, and I think people are really expecting it. So what I would suggest is to even just start with that one moment in your event that you can offer something quite special, a little way to enhance the attendees' experience, a little way so they feel like, oh my goodness, these guys have really taken care of me. So it's that idea of popping on a song, giving people that opportunity to stretch and move, and just remembering that that is such a powerful way to help people's mental health, physical health, and also a really, really great tool to give to them that they can think, okay, I can actually take this back now into my regular work day. I can incorporate little moments of movement. Thank you for inspiring me to do that, because, and then, after a months, a year and years of disrupting that sedentary sitting, of getting moving, it can have such a powerful impact on our longevity, on our mental health, and on our body. So I would highly, highly recommend that. I've got lots of videos and ideas and things that people can use. So everyone feel free to reach out, and I'm happy to help you with that.
Yes, that's fabulous. And it's something too that I was just thinking as event planners kind of go into, it's still very uncertain in this next year of, whether it's going to be a virtual or an in-person experience, even a hybrid experience. This is really that one thing that is just kind of, that equal playing field. If you want to have everyone feel connected, have everyone listen to the same song and do some moves together. Like, how else is a better way to feel connected? I mean, we're halfway across the world from each other, and already we're, doing some moves in sync together. So I really think that's a kind of a beautiful thing, that just something so simple can also just be a level playing field for your in-person and your virtual attendees, both of them.
Yeah,
I love
me
it.
too.
Awesome. Lizzy, where can people find you? What is the best way to reach out to you? Because I definitely want people to be able to find your resources. So what is the best way for them to reach you?
I'm at 2 Minute Moves. The website's TWO Minute Moves, but if you type in the number 2, that goes there too. You'll find me all over Instagram and Facebook and YouTube under 2 Minute Moves, TWO Minute Moves. YouTube, there is a ton of video resources there, but probably the best place to go is the website, and it's all there. And also, I'd love to hear from you on LinkedIn as well. I love the connections that I'm making with eventprofs on LinkedIn. It's just been fantastic. So I'm Lizzy Williamson on LinkedIn, Lizzy. So I really look forward to hearing from you and how I can hopefully help you inspire, your attendees to take care of their physical and mental well-being.
Absolutely. Lizzy, thank you so much for joining me today. I think you inspired everyone to get moving, or at least to think about it now a little bit. And so it's at the, top of your mind when you're kind of feeling those low energy moments slip in. So I think everyone who listened could definitely walk away with some great information, and we'll definitely have to have you back on because your energy and your passion is just infectious. Loved having you on.
Thank you, Sarah. And thank you so much for what you're doing for the event industry. You're absolutely awesome. It's been such a thrill talking to you today. So thank you.
Thank you. And thank you everyone for tuning in. Again, to make sure that you are caught up on everything Event Icons, you can subscribe at www.event-icons.com. Bye everyone. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us for another amazing episode of Event Icons. To catch all of the bonus content, resources mentioned, and an invite to our Facebook and LinkedIn groups, head to www.event-icons.com. Also, let us know what you thought about this week's episode. Share your biggest takeaway, and just tag your social media posts with Event Icons. We'd love to hear from you. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you again soon, right here on Event Icons.